is more surprised right now, 10 days out from the media, the New York Times or rank and file Democrats?
Well, I think, everyone understands that you can't start gauging these elections, 2 months out. There's too much time. There's too much that can happen in between those periods and when the election actually happens. I think there's still time in between now and the election, but it's starting to get very close. We knew that these elections were going to narrow. Anybody who studied this for a long time understands that the incumbent party, or at least the party who controls the White House, has a tough time in their first midterm. So, this should not be surprising. And it is true that New York could potentially get a Republican governor. That is true, just like it was a shock a few years ago when Georgia, Democrats had a clean sweep in Georgia. That was a shock. The politics, the environment changes as
the things are surprising. How much of this, though, was a little 2016 hubris, right? Remember that Hillary Clinton decided that she wanted to run up the electoral college count, and she said, I'm not going to bother campaigning in Michigan and Pennsylvania, in Wisconsin and Ohio, and that proved out to be quite literally a fatal mistake. Is there any Democrats who are saying, boy, we really should have protected our flank more than trying to go for the midterm upset?
I think that there's some truth to that. I think Democrats need to go everywhere and campaign everywhere, even in places where it seems hostile. I think it's important to try and reach every American, and some people aren't necessarily going to hear your message. I think New Hampshire, it should not be that close. Georgia certainly should not be that close. I think Democrats are missing an opportunity in North Carolina, which is a dead heat right now.
Yeah, that's a fascinating race, the open Senate seat there. You make this point, though, about it shouldn't be that close. One of the reasons it's that close, though, is because of the biggest reason is the economy, right? But Democrats hadn't really been running on the economy. They've been running on abortion and threats to democracy and everything else, because it sort of seemed to work in August. Not working now. Here's President Biden in an interview yesterday, sort of giving his common theme when it comes to talking about the economy. Take a listen.
Given record inflation, why should voters choose Democrats?
Because it's not record inflation anymore. I'm bringing it down. Look what we inherited. You have people who are now in a position where the combination of pay raises and job security, they're now in a better off, even with inflation, than they were before it.
Nobody believes that. Every poll says people think we're in a recession. Life is bad. We're having difficult economic times. What is the philosophy? What's the strategy behind telling people, hey, you're better off, life's great?
So I think one of the things that we need to remember is that, of course, he has done some things like bringing down energy costs and healthcare costs, but people haven't.
No, Jason, he hasn't. No, hold on. Gas is $1 a gallon more than it was when he took office. $1.
Now, again, but Leland, you know that that's actually not true in the sense that
it actually is true. This is the problem. Why not look at America and say, I know your pain?
This isn't Fox News. You're not going to be Sean Hannity to me. Be Leland Vittert. Don't be Sean Hannity. Now, what I'm saying,
it's a new one. Go ahead.
Is to say that when you look at it, of course, we know that the oil industry has practiced capital discipline, and it doesn't want to suffer the losses that it experienced during the pandemic when they overproduced and people weren't using the oil, which made, of course, the price of oil drop. But the question is, how do you communicate that to an American who's going to the pump like me and you? So that's the difficult part.
I challenge you to stick around. I don't know if we can do this, but if we can, we might have you stick around for our next segment with Chadwick Moore. Thanks for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to subscribe. Click the red button to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.